It's Debatable with Mark Gray here on MLBBro.com.
It's Debatable, where we give it to you straight, no chaser, along with our first ballot Hall of Famer and all-star leading vote-getting apologist, Manny Ramirez Brown. We call him Man Ram. I'm the MLB Bro OG, Mark Gray, and let's throw out the first pitch. Who's black baseball's royal family? Team Griffey or Team Bonds?
For me, I'm going to go with the Griffeys, and that's all due respect to the Bonds family. That obviously, there's nothing to shake a stick at when it comes to the Bond family. But the Griffeys, man, because to me, I think more so the impact that Ken Griffey had on the culture. I mean, people like black athletes that don't even watch baseball are still talking about what Ken Griffey did for the sport of baseball. Like the reason we do this show, the reason that this network exists is in part because of the impact that Ken Griffey had and the lack of a suitable replacement for Ken Griffey and that impact that he had, not only on black culture, black youth, hip hop culture, like all that. And on top of that, like I still feel, and this is maybe a hot take or maybe I'm in the minority here, but you take Bonds at his peak, pre-steroids, and you take Griffey at his peak, pre-injury, Seattle Mariner days. I feel like Ken Griffey was a little bit of the better player. I think Ken Griffey was the all-around better player. That's not saying that Bonds wasn't great, because we all know Bonds was great, but I think Ken Griffey was just in a league on his own, man. What he did defensively, the power, everything involved. I mean, Ken Griffey was just amazing. And then his dad was no slouch either. I think he won 3 World Series rings. So, I still think, pound for pound, I still would go with the Griffey family as the royal family of baseball.
I'm sorry, my friend. I have to disagree with you with vehemence. Let's be real for a second. Barry and Bobby are the only 2 players ever to hit 400 home runs and steal 300 bases apiece. I mean, individual statistics, phenomenal. You start bringing in Ken Griffey's World Championship, with all due respect to senior, I mean, how many Hall of Famers was he around? I mean, you think Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, you had consistent all-star players like Tony Perez, Hall of Famer, George Foster was on that team. You had great pitching. I mean, the body of his appearances in the World Series had a lot to do with the players around him. Who'd Barry Bonds have around him? Mike LaValliere, Chico Lean, Andy Van Slyke, and was still getting it in. He went out to San Francisco.
Oh, these are good players now. These ain't exactly
they were okay, but they weren't transcendent players. Rose, Hall of Fame. Morgan, Hall of Fame. Perez, Hall of Fame. That was a third of your starting lineup.
What about Bobby Bonds Sr. played with McCovey and Mays? Let's not act like that. Bonds was out here playing by himself out there in San Francisco.
But Barry didn't have anything, and neither did
Jeff Kent.
But how many times did Ken get to the Ken Jr. get to the playoffs? Again, you're welcome to your opinion, but once again, old school rules.
It's all good.
Anyway. What is going on with your namesake, Manny Ramirez? The complete gall, the unadulterated audacity to say that if Derek Jeter had played in any city other than New York, he wouldn't be all that. Has he lost his mind, or is he on to something there?
I think he's on to something. Matter of fact, I'll go one further.
I think he's more right. On something, but
I think he's right. Like, let's be honest here. Listen, can I be? Listen, as the youth say, right? As my fellow millennials and Gen Z say, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100 here. This is what we do here on Debatable, right? Let's be honest. Let's not take anything away from Derek Jeter. Was a great player.
And you can't.
Worthy Hall of Famer. I'm not going to come out of the side of my neck and talk bad about Derek Jeter. But let's be honest. The New York media overrated Derek Jeter for his career. Like, he was a very good player, but let's be honest. Bernie Williams was on that team. Mariano was on that team. And I still think Bernie Williams, at his peak, in his prime, was as good, if not better, than Derek Jeter. And he was just as important to that Yankee team.
He
Derek
was.
Jeter, if he played in Kansas City, let's be real, he'd be Craig Biggio. Good player, very good player, Hall of Famer. Nobody's taking that away from him. But would he be this icon, this captain that we all salivate and revere? Like he's basically Jesus Christ reincarnated. Like he was a very good player, but he was an average shortstop. Let's keep it a buck. He was an average shortstop. He was not a great defensive shortstop.
He was definitely
Nomar when he was healthy and he was in his prime. Nomar was a better player.
I don't know about that.
Nomar was the better player. Alex Rodriguez, steroids or no steroids, was a better player, and he was better defensively. Like it's okay to say that Derek Jeter was overrated by the New York media. It's okay to say that.
But I tell you what, he was first ballot on the dating life. Never got caught.
That, sir, touche. I only got nothing to say about that.
You know what I'm saying?
That is in the pantheons.
That is, top shelf stuff.
For sure,
he ranks right up there with the group who are, from the entertainment community.
His roster was deep. Let's just put it that way.
And you can't tell me that ain't first ballot Hall of Fame.
Oh, no doubt.
All right, just so long as we do agree on that. Anyway, that's it for this week's Debatable. Don't forget, we'll give it to you straight, no chaser again next week. For my boy Man Ram, it's your boy, the MLB OG. You keep it locked. For all the news that's fit to talk about the bros in the game on MLBBro.com.